Visha. Welcome, Visha. Hi, Visha.
Hello.
Hi, Visha. So, Visha is the owner and designer at the Cinnamon Room, which is a local home decor shop I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with
It is
here.
the best place. It is so fantastic.
It's here in Singapore. And I have to say, I'm kind of a little obsessed with her candles and candle
Yeah.
holders. I tend to overdo with candles. So, Visha,
We do
talk
it.
to us about decorating for the holidays. Are we looking at matchy? Can you mix things up? Give us some tips.
So I think this year is a little bit different because we're all going to be here throughout the holidays. And that means that you're going to be entertaining a lot more throughout the whole period rather than getting in a plane and going somewhere. So I would say this year, jazz it up a bit. Don't be fixated with having it all matchy, which probably works if you're having a couple of Christmas parties and a couple of friends coming over. Chances are you're going to be having lots of small groups this year coming over, and I would say keep it varied so it's exciting for your guests but also exciting for you when you're entertaining, that you feel alive by just putting in a bit of festive cheer into your design scheme. So what I've done was to suggest different various looks. So I've got two kids and they're really big on red. And although I'm wearing a red dress in honor of today's, a lot of us are, I'm actually more of someone with more muted tones. But at Christmas, just adding that little touch of red probably makes it a little bit more festive, but you don't have to. I would say keep it relatively neutral and then throw on your splash of color. And one of the things that I think when people say, is it matchy, is your tree. We all go out and buy, I mean, I usually get a fresh tree every year, a huge expense in Singapore, but I kind of think for the scent that it gives out, fantastic. So then that brings you to your wreath. Does your wreath need to match your tree? You could do, but I would say not necessarily. If you find something that is cohesive in terms of the style of the decor, then you could easily jazz it up and have it look a little bit different. So for the wreath, I never buy a fresh wreath. I think, I'd like to keep them year on year, jazz it up, make it look different. If it can go from your door to, if I'm going to show you what we've done, I've turned a wreath into a table setting and placed um, a one of our netted pillar candles in the center. So I'm going to move this away. I'm going to show you lots of different versions of things that you can do. So this is a beautiful wreath that we have got from the ladies from the Silk Flowers, which I'm collaborating with at the moment. So I'm going to be designing wreaths with them. And this you can see, if we take the pillar candle out, is something that is fairly muted. It's got, instead of the obvious pink, obvious red berries, we've got subtle pink hues. Now I've used this will be the new wreath that we would have this year. And having it on the table, we just put a pillar candle. Now, quite often, when you're placing a candle in the middle of the middle of the wreath is quite wide. So to avoid having to put a whole load of candles that then melt all over your wreath, I suggest using something like a lantern or a tea light holder. And that's just going to keep it nice and neat and fresh all year round. Now, this is an adaptation of a wreath, of a new wreath, which I'm really excited about because we've just going to be designing them with the ladies from Silk Flowers. But I'm going to show you another example where if you don't want to do a wreath, this is one of a table centerpiece. It's all one piece. And we decorate this year on year for different festivals. I don't know whether you can grab a good look at that. But you can
Are
see
those bowls, Visha? What are those?
it's actually a tea light centerpiece. So you just put your little candles, tea lights in it. And depending on what the festival is, it's really versatile. So we just did Diwali, and I decorated exactly this with marigolds and jasmines. Now it's Christmas time now, so I've used acorns which are always part of my Christmas decorations. They're loose acorns and then just baubles, different tones. And in this one, it's got metallic tones of like a pewter, a champagne gold, and a dark chocolate. But if you want to go for something smaller, we've also got this, and I've just put baubles along here. So this is a really quick and easy way. I'm all about effortless transformations of how you can use something that not just at Christmas time, but all year round. So for this, if I were having friends round for a dinner party, I would just use some bougainvillea from the garden, some leaves, and I would just jazz that up. But as it's Christmas time, I'm using the warmer tones. I haven't lit this one because I'm tilting it, but you can see it's really versatile to jazz things up really quickly.
In the middle of the table, it's low, you can see over it. That's really nice.
Exactly. And when I'm designing my home decor, it's not just how it looks, it's also got to do with practicality. So quite often we want to have something in the middle of the table, but you also want to have a look across the table to who you're speaking to, your fellow guests. And this is a great accent to the table. You don't need to do very much. Just by having a table centerpiece, light it up with some candles, you can't ever go wrong. I mean, just looking at your background page, I can see all the candles lit, and that just creates such a warm ambience, which is really important, I think, when you are trying to create an inviting entertainment space that's warm and inviting. Now, we talked about a nude wreath. I also want to show you, this is an old wreath that I have, this one here, and this was sort of some olive leaves and eucalyptus and berries. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this. So it's all green with a few berries, which looks cool. But if you were to just put some tea light centerpieces in the middle, you can see how that little tea lights, and it jazzes the whole thing up altogether. It gives it a new lease of life. So recycle, repurpose, use what you have. I purchased this wreath probably about 6 years ago. I don't want to throw it out because it's still really quite functional, but I've just jazzed it up. This doesn't necessarily need to be in your dining table. It could be on your coffee table and everywhere you're entertaining, the entrance hallway, anywhere where you're just trying to make it be a bit more festive.
I love it because I have a lot of tea lights around, as you were looking behind me. And sometimes you want to corral them into looking like a single thing. And so I'll put them on a tray, and that functions like a tray. It keeps them all together so it looks like a single decorative piece, which is really nice.
You're just concentrating the area. Then I'm going to show you something else that we've done. Now, this is the larger version of the netted pillar candle that you saw me place in the middle of the wreath. And all I've done with this, I'm going to show you what it's some old Christmas decorations that I had with, I put some red ribbon on it.
Yeah.
And then I've got this sort of berry-like structure, and I'm just going to wrap it round. And when you look at it, suddenly just a white pillar candle, netted pillar candle, well, it's a lantern, just gets jazzed up and looks festive. You know, it's as simple as that.
Oh, I love that.
Very, very easy. Although one of the berries has just popped into the burning away, so that's going to be fun. Now,
Alicia, do you sell the tea? You sell the tea light lamps at Cinnamon Room?
Yes.
I mean,
so
tea light wreaths.
I do, and we're going to be. I was just with the ladies at Silk Flowers today to design a special wreath for us, for our clients. Okay. So yeah, whatever I am showing you, I've kind of designed at some point, whether it's recently this year or previous years. But something that I also wanted to say, which would really, really make, I think, Christmas at home a little bit more special this year, and listening to you ladies going on about your personalized glasses, personalized Christmas decorations. Yeah. Now, this is something that you can, I think it's super versatile because you can hang it on your tree. We are getting the names engraved, and this is Singapore mahogany wood. You don't need to come and obviously purchase this, but you could, when your kids break up for school, you could get them to use, let me show you, we've got the stars over here, we've got hearts, and we've got an angel. So you could just ask them to download images from cutouts from the website and ask them to decorate it. Now that, and then ask them to put names on it. It's a cool, really, really cool way, because if you look at it, I have placed it as my table place setting.
Yeah.
So my napkin, I've got that in.
Cute.
And then just a little red ribbon gives it a bit of a festive feel.
Yeah.
You know, you could place other decorations around the table just to create that festive
Just
flair.
so special to have your name on something like that.
Exactly.
That you can take home. I like my name on stuff.
Yeah.
Those are lovely, Visha. Thank you. Thank you. Those are fabulous. Sorry. I was just going to tell everybody that you very kindly have given us an offer code for 10% off your lanterns and tea lights.
Yes.
Allie has put it in the chat, so if anybody's looking for that, it's in the chat. And you're at the Cinnamon Room in Holland Village, correct?
Correct. Yes. We would love to see you. Come on by with lots of great ideas of how to become festive, cheerful this year while we're spending it in Singapore.
I love that.
Thank you, Visha. We love it. I want you to come and style my table. Thank you. Good night.